Welcome back. This is Metropole Business Center, the home of news and views from the world of business and economics. And on this part of the show, we are on the Gadget Review segment. And this week, Nokia announced, basically introduced 3 weeks, three new devices into the market. That's a Nokia 2.4, the Nokia 3.4, and the Nokia 8.3 5G. And the devices are now officially launched here in Kenya. And we shall focus on the mid-range Nokia 3.4 and its high-end variant, the Nokia 8.3 5G. And to do this, I'm joined by our resident tech analyst and tech enthusiast, Joe Wanjara. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very well.
Yes.
So today we are focusing on those two devices that Nokia launched last week, which are now in Kenya.
Yes.
We could begin with the Nokia 3.4. What are some of the features around it?
Well, the Nokia 3.4 is the mid-range device of the three. Goes for around 17,000 Kenya shillings. The specs include a 6.39 inch. It's a rather small screen, decent for most people. It's an IPS display, not an AMOLED display.
IPS here standing for?
It's basically an LCD.
Okay.
An LCD display, yes. Right. So we have LCD, we have AMOLED, which is a more premium screen panel to use. Yeah. But mid-range phones usually prefer LCD because it's cheaper. Yeah, so we have that. It's a 720p display. That's a full HD. So that's about the screen. When we go to performance, it uses the Snapdragon 450 chipset, which is a mid-range chipset, but it works fine for that price of 17,000 Kenya shillings. Right. It comes with around 3 and 4 GB of RAM. There are two variants. Also, it has 32 GB internal memory, or you can go for the higher 64 GB internal memory.
Okay.
Yes.
We've always known Nokia for quality cameras.
Yes.
Does this one hold up to that standard?
For the longest time, they've always had one of the best cameras, but competition has caught up. So most people right now also have camera quality that is just as good. For this phone, the 3.4, well, it's a decent camera setup. It has 3 cameras on the back, 13 megapixel main camera. It has a 5 megapixel wide angle camera and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. The photos are decent enough. A professional won't appreciate the photos, but an average user will find the photos good enough for daily use. One thing I notice is it struggles in low light situations. The photos come out a bit grainy. Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at the operating system around the Nokia 3.4.
Nokia uses Android One. That's a pure Android experience. No bloatware added on top of the Android OS. It's as pure as released by Google. So it comes with Android 10, but it's also upgradable to Android 11. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. How about the battery power? That's also another of the Nokia qualities that we know. I mean, a long-lasting battery.
Yeah, true. So here they're going with a 4,000 milliamp battery that charges at 10 watts. 10 watts is not the fastest, but considering the price, we sort of understand why it's only at 10 watts. Build quality of this phone, the phone is plastic on the frame, not aluminium, plastic on the back as well. So sort of feels cheap, but I guess you can understand that it's only 17,000 Kenya shillings. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Just top of mind, which phones would you probably put on the same platform with 3.4 in terms of comparison?
3.4. We have the Techno Spark. Is it 3 or 4? The Oppo, the one. There's this Oppo phone that also was just launched. I think we should also look into it. I just forgot the name. I think Samsung A51 from yes.
Mm-hmm. Which are more or less within the same price range and same specs.
Yes, exactly.
Good. Let's look at its high-end version here. That's the 8.35G.
The 8.3 5G, yeah. This is a very interesting phone, yeah. Comes with 5G, of course. But it has a very premium price tag. Goes for almost 70,000 Kenya shillings. That's 69,000 Kenya shillings. So we're just trying to look into it to find out why they decided to price it so, so expensively. And one of the things you're going to notice is it has a very large screen, 6.81 inches, sorry, which is very big, decent enough for watching movies and everything else. It's also a full HD display, 1080p. So yeah, so the screen is good, but they went for an LCD and not an AMOLED. I was expecting an AMOLED considering the price tag. Yeah. So that's about the screen. The battery, it's around 4,500 milliamps, only charges at 18 watts. For a phone of 70,000, I was expecting around 60 watts or 65 watts fast charging. It also has no wireless charging. So they should have done more for that sort of price.
Which means probably at that point, it would be better probably to choose a different model, but we will not mention which one. Let's not demarket. Let's not demarket the Nokia 8.3 at this point. How about the camera?
The camera?
Yeah.
Well, good. Main camera is a 16 megapixel camera. Also, it just performs the same as the other one that we just talked about, 3.4. Only that this time round, the photos are a bit clearer if you put them side to side. Yeah. Also, if you're zooming in, there's more detail when you zoom in. But then, just like the 3.4, the 8.3 also struggles in low light. That's something I think generally Nokia needs to work on. They need to find a way to, make the cameras perform better during the night or during situations where we have low light conditions. Yes.
Good. Let's look at the power behind it.
The power behind it. It is powered by a Snapdragon 720G. It's a fair chipset, almost around the leagues of the high-end chipsets. So that's decent enough. That means you're going to get good power for whatever you want to use the phone for. It also has 6 GB of RAM. There's also an 8 GB RAM variant. In terms of storage, you have 128 GB and 64 GB. So that's good. That's good.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Let's look at its cons.
The cons, yeah. Now, for 70,000 Kenya shillings, you are expecting a premium device with premium features, which are sort of lacking on this phone. It doesn't have wireless charging, like I mentioned. It doesn't have actually fast wireless charging. It shouldn't just be wireless, it should be fast wireless charging. They went for an LCD display and not the OLED, which is meant for the premium phones. Doesn't have an in-display fingerprint. Doesn't have fast charging of around 65 watts and above. Another thing I noticed is it doesn't have any IP rating, meaning it is not sort of dust resistant or water resistant. So these are things you expect on a phone that is around 70,000 Kenya shillings, which was missing here. So another thing I also almost forgetting was the high refresh rates that I always talk about. If you're gonna sell your phone at 70,000 Kenya shillings, it should be around 90 hertz refresh rates, 120 or 144, like every other competitor is doing. So these are the things I was expecting on this phone, but they omitted them. So I'm convinced that this is not good value for money. Yes, if you really had to pick between the two, I'd rather you go for the 3.4, because as much as the specs are not as premium as the ones on the 8.3, the price tag and the features sort of make sense. Yes.
So it would appear Nokia is trying to get into the high-end side, but still not getting what the high-end user is looking for.
Exactly. The price is there, but the features the users would expect for that kind of price tag is still missing. So I think that's something they really need to work on. They've gone a great deal to market this phone, but I think they missed the most important part, which is the features, the premium features.
From where you sit,
yes,
who's sitting high on the high-end spectrum of smartphones? Is it Samsung? Is it Apple?
Apple, Samsung, Huawei. Huawei launched their Mate 40 series. It's a really nice phone. We have OnePlus. They've been there for a while, and they're still there. They released their 8 Pro, which is a really good device. Yeah, and Oppo is also slowly but surely coming into that market as well. Yes.
So there's still a bit of work for Nokia to do.
Yes.
Before it can capture.
Yes. I think they need to connect with the customers and know what really people are looking for in such a phone. Yes.
All right. Very well. Thanks a lot for your insights on the Nokia 3.4 and Nokia 8.3 5G.
Thank you so much for having me.
As always, thanks a lot. I've been with Joe Wanjara, who is our tech resident expert on Metropole Business Center, and we've been looking through, reviewing the Nokia 3.4 and the Nokia 8.3 5G, which were launched last week by Nokia. I'll also hasten to mention that Nokia had also launched a Nokia 2.4, which is really on the lower end of the spectrum. But for today, we're looking at the Nokia 3.4 and the 8.3 5G device, and I hope that you have now gotten some insights to help you make a decision on which smartphone to go for, just in case you need to upgrade. This has been Metropole Business Center. My name is Stephen Kimani. Join me next week as we look at the world of technology right here on Metropole TV. This is Metropole Business Center.